Venezuela's opposition is renewing its push to bring in badly needed humanitarian aid from neighboring countries in defiance of the government and military. With the country facing dire shortages of medicine and basic supplies, more than 100 tons of U.S. aid is still waiting in the Colombian border city of Cucuta. Embattled President Nicolas Maduro has ordered the military to block the supplies from entering Venezuela. He's called the aid a Trojan horse and part of a U.S. plot to overthrow his government. In an interview with DW News, opposition leader Juan Guaido has called on the military to switch sides and put the people's needs first.
We'll always appeal to the conscience of the armed forces to pick the constitutional side. We've been very clear to the armed forces that they have to allow the humanitarian aid to enter, and whoever blocks it will be tried for human rights violations.
Well, meanwhile, the standoff over aid continues and people keep streaming out of Venezuela. DW's Felipe Abon-dano has been speaking with some Venezuelan migrants who made it across the border to Colombia.
Juan Guaido says the military blockade of this border bridge is a crime against humanity. With the border sealed, foreign aid, including desperately needed food, medicine and basic supplies, have been piling up across the border in the Colombian city of Cucuta. Now, Guaido wants Venezuelans who fled the country to bring the aid back across the frontier. Thousands have volunteered to do so, even if that means confronting Venezuelan soldiers guarding the border. We have to talk to them because we are the people. But we are unarmed, and without weapons, we can't do anything. We have to talk to the military, but it's the military that should be helping the people, not the other way around.
If we have to face the military, of course we will, but peacefully. There are a lot of people that do need this medicine. I'm healthy, I can manage to get something to eat, but children and the elderly can't.
The military is always persecuting people. Instead of helping, they just fire on ordinary citizens. The government orders them to fire, to kill people. It shouldn't be that way.
Guaido has been urging Venezuela's military to abandon Maduro and let the supplies into the country. But the armed forces have been demonstrating loyalty to the president in a series of military drills. Maduro says allowing the aid to enter would be the start of a U.S.-led invasion.
Thousands of men and women have shown their ability, their training, their physical and moral strength. The strength that we need to tell the empire to get out of Venezuela. Hands off Venezuela, Yankee Empire. Yankee, go home.
Guaido says he still has faith that the country's armed forces can be won over. But he hasn't ruled out authorizing the U.S. to intervene militarily in Venezuela if Maduro refuses to step aside.
And we're joined now in the studio by Ofelia Harms-Arruti from our Latin American desk. Ofelia just returned from Colombia. Now, tell us, the Maduro government is blocking delivery of aid from Colombia. It's piled up there at the border. What is the government's justification for blocking that aid?
Well, Maduro says this is a show from the opposition, a show that is backed by U.S. powers that he thinks are interested in the oil reserves of his country. And he also keeps denying the humanitarian crisis that is becoming evident has been becoming evident for years. He has been denying it for years, but now we see 2.3 million people fleeing the country and 300,000 in risk of death. That is why this humanitarian help is becoming more urgent. That's what the U.S. and the opposition are saying.
Now, the opposition leader, Juan Guaido, who is backed by a number of foreign governments, including the United States and Germany, he's called for more protests. Ofelia, just how likely is that we will see a showdown at the border?
Well, Guaido has put up a website. He has said that 100,000 people are already volunteering to bring the help in and would also be volunteering to protest against this blockage. He has also said that there will be more borders around Venezuela where they will be bringing aid from international actors. And we heard this from the new ambassador to Colombia from Venezuela. He said that probably Roraima in Brazil, at the border to Venezuela, and also a Caribbean island, most probably Aruba, will be centers where the humanitarian help will be gathered. And they will also ask people to help bring this aid in. So if there was a showdown, it will most probably be if the military tries to stop the people at the borders.
So there's pressure building inside the country, but also outside the country there's quite a bit of pressure. How much sway do foreign powers have in this crisis? The United States, Russia, and of course Venezuela's own neighbors in the region all have interests in this conflict.
Well, yeah, Venezuela keeps being backed by Russia and China, who have big interests. They have invested a lot in Venezuela because they got a lot of oil from Venezuela at very cheap prices. But at the same time, it is surprising how quickly this reaction from the U.S. came, this backing of Juan Guaido and this help. And so what some analysts say is it's not only the interest in Venezuela for the U.S. because of the oil and the crisis, but also because they want to see more neoliberal, conservative governments getting stronger in the region after Colombia and Brazil had elections last year.
Ophelia, thank you so much. Ophelia Harms-Urruti from our Latin America desk.